Today we are going to look at how to use the browse donation screen in donations. And we're going to focus on different ways you can manipulate the screen to search for different things, to sort it differently, group it differently. That'll help you find transactions or people you might be looking for, and just different tips to kind of help you make managing that screen a little easier for you. So before we jump into that topic though, I want to head out to the website and I want to show you where the information for today's webinar has been pulled from. So we have workbooks that you are able to purchase. So at churchwindows.com, if you scroll over here on the left hand side under Church Windows Training, if you go right here to workbooks, you can actually purchase what we're going to cover today if you'd like to have something written down. So if you click on workbooks, there's lots of membership workbooks, a workbook on emailing, scheduler, but specifically today we're going to be talking about Donations 104. Okay, so this is going to cover how to use the browse donation screen, specifically how to manipulate it to get the information out that you're looking for. So D104, specifically pages 22 through the end of the book, which I believe ends on page 34. So that's where you can find this information. And then up here at the top, it's going to give you the prices. So if you would like to have a downloadable copy of this D104 workbook emailed to you, you can do that for $12. If you'd rather it be pre-printed and binder ready, you can also get that for $22 and we will send it to you in the mail. So that's where you get the information that I'm covering today. That's Donations Workbook D104, pages 22 through 34. Okay, let me minimize this. Couple things about the GoToWebinar toolbar. You do have the option to ask questions. Kellyanne is helping me out today. So if you go over on the GoToWebinar toolbar in the questions section, if you expand that, feel free to ask any questions in there. I do ask that you keep those questions topical. If you have specific questions about your data or a question that's off topic, please shoot us an email to support@churchwindows.com and ask those questions there, or you can always call us on our 1-800 number and we can get you hooked up with the right tech to discuss your situation. Also, on the GoToWebinar toolbar, there is a little orange box with a white facing, left or right facing arrow in it. If you click that, it'll actually shrink up your GoToWebinar toolbar to give you a little bit more room on your monitor if you need it. All right, so today's webinar, we are working in version 19.16.1. We sent this update out not too long ago. So if you're still on 19.16, check your email or you can contact us and we can have it sent to you again, or you can head out to churchwindows.com and download the SR1 to get up to most current. All right, so let's get into donations here. So I went ahead and opened up donations and I opened up browse donations. So you can get into browse donations two ways. You can go right here and click on this little quick link button in the middle, or you can come up here and hit it here. It's going to take you to the exact same screen. It's just personal preference on how you choose to get to it. So browse donations is where you're going to have an organized screen of all of your donation transactions that have been entered. So when you enter a batch and you post that batch, it creates donations, and this is where you can go in and see those specific transactions. You can also make corrections and reversals here from this screen. You have a correct and a reverse button up here at the top. We're not going to go into that today on how to correct or reverse. We just did a webinar on that, which you can find out on our website. But this is where those corrections would be done or reversals would be done to specific transactions. But today we are going to talk about this little button, right here. It says change dates, filter, and sort. This button, if you haven't used it, is really going to be helpful when you're searching through your giving to find a particular transaction or even a particular person. If we go ahead and click on that button, get rid of my drawings, it's going to take you into this browser options screen. So this browser options screen allows you to pick specific filters or criteria to then be reflected back on that browse donation screen. So you can really focus in on a lot of different things to help you do research, print reports, look for a specific transaction. So say you want to see, for example, all the giving for a particular giver. That can be done right here in this box. So if you want to see all the giving from Bob Smith, for example, you would type his name in here, type the giver number, or you can simply hit the down arrow and pick the person whose information that you're wanting to see. So say we just go to Jack. We have Jack's name picked, we hit OK, then this screen is going to change and it's going to show us Jack and his total amount. Now if we want to see his details, we can come in here and hit the box with a little plus sign or double click his name, and it's going to expand and it's going to show us all of the giving within the date range specified. And your date range is going to be listed right up here. So by default it's going to show you the whole year of the current time. Okay. Now let's go ahead and go back into change dates, filter, and sort, and let's see what other options we have. We also have an option to see pledge. So if we leave Jack in there, for example, the pledge box is going to adjust and it's going to show us Jack's specific pledges. So we can see Jack has a pledge to save the animals, he has a pledge back in 2012, and he has a pledge from 2011. So we could choose this Save the Animals pledge that Jack has made, and we can hit OK, and that will show us any donations that went specifically to Jack's pledge of Save the Animals. Okay, so this pledge box will adjust depending upon the giver that you have picked in this box. If you don't have a giver selected, the pledge box is going to blank out because it wants you to pick a person, so then it can show you those person's specific pledges to pick from. Okay, now that I picked Nina, we can see that what pledge information is showing down here is shifted. It's just showing us Nina's specific pledges. Okay. So that's another fun feature you can use to focus in on someone's pledged giving if you want. You also have an account box down here next. Account box is great because you can go in and you can pick to see giving that is only to a particular giving account. So let's say we want to see all of the giving that went to general fund. Hit the down arrow, you pick the giving account that you want, and you hit OK. And now Browse is going to shift, and it's going to show you only the donations that went to general fund. Right? Another quick way to reference giving here. So if we go back into filter and sort, we now have a check/reference number box. This is a great tool if you have a check that you need to go in and look at. So if we put in a check number and we hit OK, it's going to take us to the transaction, or in this case we have two transactions, one from Sarah and one from Jack, where they both happen to have a check that had that specific check number of 1648. All right? Another quick way to find a transaction by a check number. All right, next we're going to talk about user. Now for this user box to apply to you, you need to have different users that log into the program itself. So everyone would need to have their own specific login. So if, say, I'm Rachel Klein and I want to see all of the transaction that I did, I would type in the Rachel Klein username, and then it would only show me those transactions that were done by Rachel Klein. Okay, so that's a good way if you know Bobby Smith was doing something in here and you want to go see what Bobby Smith was doing, you could put their username right in that box. All right, you also have a batch code. This is another or one of those fields that's optional. When you enter donations, not everyone uses a batch code, which is fine. You don't have to. But say you want to see all of the batches from your early batch code or your 9 o'clock service. If you wanted to see just those specifically, you could go ahead and click on that batch code and hit OK, and then it's only going to show you the transactions that were part of an early batch code. All right, now let's go over to this giver number range field over here on the right. This option allows you to look at giving from people in a particular giver number range. Pretty straightforward. So let's go ahead and just for example's sake, we'll do 1 to 100. We'll say OK. And this is going to show us all of our givers, as you can see, that have a number that falls within 1 to 100. Okay. You can also put in, like, if you want to see someone specifically, you could do 6 to 6, and that would pull up the giver who has giver number 6. Or you could search by their name. Maybe you only know their giver number and not their name. That would be a good example of when you would want to use this giver number range box. All right, date occurred. That is the date that the batch was posted. So that would be your donation date. So say your donations are from last Sunday. You could put that last Sunday date in, and that would show you those donations. You can do a date occurred of 1 day through 1 day. Say you want to do October 30th through October 30th. You can do that in the date occurred box. You could do a month. You could do a quarter. You could do the whole year. You could also go back to 2009 if you wanted to. That's all driven right here by your date occurred boxes. All right, now you also have date posted. Now the difference between date occurred and date posted. Date posted is the date you are actually sitting at the computer and created the batch or entered the donations. So if you entered your batch with a date occurred of October 30th, but you were actually sitting at the computer October 31st, that would be your date occurred and that would be your date posted. All right, next you have your transaction number. Anytime a batch is entered or posted, it is assigned, each transaction or each entry is assigned a transaction number. So you can go in specifically and search for a transaction number if you wish. You could do a range, say 1,000 to 2,000 if you wanted. And if you hit OK, it's going to show you those transactions within that range. They're going to be listed right here over on the left side. Okay. You can also go in and type in one specific transaction number. If you're looking for a specific donation, you can do that, and then that will show you that specific donation that you're looking for. Okay. All right, next we have amount. That is also helpful if you're looking for a donation of a particular amount, but say you don't know who the giver is, what have you. You can type in if you know the amount. You can do that in both boxes. You can also do a range. Say you want to see all the donations that range from $1,000 to $2,000. You could put that amount in if you wanted as a range, or you can put in a specific amount and hit OK, and then it's going to show you that gift that matches that criteria that you put in. Okay. Now, all of these options are going to work together. So you can put in an account if you want and a user. You can put both of those in together. You could put in a giver number range and a date occurred and a date posted. So all of these fields are going to work together. So if you just want to use one, then you would just put in one field, but you can pair them up with as much as you want depending on how much information you know. They're all going to work as a team, if you will. Okay, now let's say you've entered in some information, some criteria, and you want to clear it out. You want to get back to just your default settings. You can do that by coming right over here, and you have a clear filter button. By clicking that, that'll take you back to the default settings here in the browser options window. You also down here at the bottom right have a clear filter option, so you can clear the filter and get back to the default without having to go back into change dates, filter, and sort to clear it. Okay, so let's go ahead and click that, and we'll see that the amount is going to clear out, and it's going to take us back to just our default date occurred. Alright, you also have the option over here on the right to show reversed. So if you have done any reversing or any corrections and you want to see that appear, you can definitely put a check mark in that show reversed box, and it's going to show you any transactions that have been corrected or reversed. Let's see if we can find any. I don't know if I have any on this data. If we did, I don't think I do, you would see those reverse transactions in red. That's how you would know the active transactions to the transactions that have been reversed or corrected. So reversals are going to show up in red. So, and you can also quickly include reverse transactions by coming down here in the bottom left-hand corner and checking this box. That saves you a step from having to go back into change dates, filter, and sort. All right, let's go back in here. You also have a couple more options down here under payment methods. You can search only on cash payment methods or only on, stock. So you can check or uncheck these depending upon what type of payment methods you want to see in your browse screen. You also have a couple options down here as well to show subtotals or not show subtotals. You can suppress repeating transaction information. So say you have non-pledged repeated a couple times for the same transaction. If you leave this checked, it will omit the repeats and only show it the first time, if you will. You also have a save selection as default option. So if you come in here and you set up this information as you want it for your personal login, you can check this save selections as default box and it will reopen the browse screen according to your selections that you made. And that only applies to your login for donations. You're not going to change everybody else's. Everyone can do it by themselves. You also have the option to always open this screen. So when you come in here, if you always want the browser options screen to open so you can pick whatever you want and get to work, you can check this box to have that showing. Okay. All right, next tab. This is the group and sort tab. This tab is super, super powerful. I feel like a lot of people don't use this, possibly because they don't know how it works. But you can really organize this browse donation screen in a lot of different ways to see the information that you want. So by default, when you open up browse donations, it's going to be organized by giver. So if we come back here and reopen browse, the default setting is going to show you each giver organized with their totals, and then when you expand it, it's going to show you their transactions. Me personally, I love it this way, but you can change it if you'd rather see it a different way. So if we go into change dates, filter, and sort, and we go in here to this group and sort tab, we can go in and we can change this and say we want it organized by account. So for example, sort field 1, we're going to click on account, and then below that we're going to do, say, giver. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And now the screen has adjusted. Now instead of it being organized by the person that made the donation, it's going to be organized by my giving accounts. So if I go to General Fund, that shows me the total amount for the year, how much money has come into my general fund. If I hit the plus sign, then it's going to show me all of the transactions that are going towards general fund. Okay, so we can see we have a couple gifts here from Lucy, a couple gifts here from Carolyn. Now, you can go in and you can organize this even further if you want. So if we go back into change dates, filter, and sort, we can then in sort field 2, we can say we want this grouped by the giver. So we can tell it we also want it grouped by giver under account. And then in our third sort field, we could go in and we could even choose amount in descending order. And then if we hit OK, it's going to have my first group field, which is account, my second grouped field, which is giver, and then within my giver, I have it organized descending by amount, so I can see their biggest gift first going to their lowest gift. Okay, now let's say we want to see it by date. We could come back in here to group by sort, and we could choose date. Where is date? Is it in here? Donation date. Choose sort it by ascending. And if we click OK, then when we go to Lucy, we see Lucy's general fund gifts are now organized by the donation date. So lots of fun stuff you can do in here for sorting. Another cool feature about this screen is that you can also do your group and sorting right here up at the top. This is a quick way to organize this screen without having to go into that change dates filter and sort button. Let me get back to this. So in this little gray section, you can pick your groups and your sorts by dragging and dropping your column headers. So if I bring giver and put it back down just by dragging and dropping, I bring account back down, I can then grab giver column header and I can pull that up in this gray area, and now it's back to sorting my primary sort or my primary group being giver. Then I can go up to account and I can drop that up there. So then under each giver, it's going to sort it by the account that they gave to. If we focus in here on Jeffrey, you can see Jeffrey's given to General Fund and Christmas. And then I can expand it and see the actual transactions that make that up. Okay, so playing with this gray area up here is it's another option to save you time from going back into this group and sort feature. All right, I'm at 20 minutes, so I'm gonna pause. I had a couple other examples to go through for the group and sort, but one thing I do want to point out is this columns tab. This columns tab is awesome. Please come in here and use this. This is where you go in and you actually pick what columns you want to print on your browse donation screen. So say you don't enter a payment method or a check number, you can highlight these fields and move them off to the left, and they won't be included as a column when you go into browse. Same thing with, say, line item comments and donation comments. If you don't use those, just hit the left facing arrow and it'll remove them from your report. So now when we go back and view, we only have the columns that we actually pick to see print out. Put this back down there. So these just more options for you to completely customize this screen for you and to make your job as efficient as possible. You can also print a report right from this screen. So while you have this screen set up in the way that you like it, you can then come right up here to the top right and click on this Print Donations button. And it's going to pull up a report for you. So if you hit Print Donations, it's going to start gathering your data, and it is going to create a report that is very, very similar to your browse donation screen, how you set it up, and then up here in the top right, you would just hit your print button, and that would send it off to the printer. All right. If anybody has any questions, that covers what I was going to go over today from our D104 book. If you have any questions, feel free to type those in, and I can answer them for you. If you don't have any questions, you need to go, feel free to close out of the webinar. That's fine, but I'll sit with you a little bit longer. This webinar is also going to be recorded, so if you want to re-watch this or watch other webinars that we've done, you can go out to YouTube. Church Windows has a YouTube page. It's just www.youtube.com/churchwindows. Once you're on our YouTube page, there's a search, or you can look by category, and you can find tons of videos out there, very informative. You can look on specific topics if you want, and find the information that you need. All right, doesn't look like any questions are coming in. Oh, never mind, one just popped in from Nancy. Nancy's asking a question on reporting. When printing individual reports, how do you show what is pledged as well as what has been given? Nancy, I can show you a way to do that here in Browse, and you can always print donations from here. There is a really great column that if you are a pledging church, I suggest you keep visible in here in Browse. But if you go to the Columns tab, move this column that says Pledge over to the right, and I usually like to put it up by my amount and my donation date. And also when you move it over, you can come down here to the bottom left and save it as a default with this little checkbox. And then after you hit OK, it's going to come in and you can see pretty easily what giving is considered pledged and what giving is considered non-pledged. So if we had any pledged giving, so say Lucy had actually, this gift or these 3 gifts were actually for her 2016 pledge, you would then see 2016 in the pledge column. So this is a nice way to see the gifts that came in, to what account they went to, and then using the pledge column, you can go in and easily see which gifts went to their pledge. But Nancy, if that doesn't ask your question, if you're looking for a specific report, you said printing an individual report, just call us or shoot us an email, and we can help you dig in a little bit further to get the question answered if what I went over doesn't suffice for you. All right, it looks as though there's no more questions coming in. If you are typing, just hit send so we get it and I don't cut you off. But if I don't see something here in the next couple seconds, I am going to go ahead and close up shop. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close out. I hope you all learned something new today that will help you make your job a little easier. But if you have any other questions, call us at the support line or shoot us an email to support@churchwindows.com, and we'll be happy to help you. I hope you all have a great day. Thanks.